Hi everybody, it's Kim, and today we are going to talk about your website. So I know that you are really busy and you really do not have time to go and update your website. You may not even want to do that. You may rely on other people to do that for you. You may just not know how to do that. So today what we're going to do is talk about some of the things that you should have on your website and how you should be making sure that you're updating it maybe on a monthly basis. You should at least do something once a month. But, hopefully you're doing something once a week. If you're doing it once a week, that's huge for you. So let's talk about some of the things that you should have on your website. And we're going to talk about some of the things that you need to remember when you are talking to your web host. Okay, this could be, if you have a customized website, this would be whoever built your website and who's managing your website. So this is a conversation that you should have at least once a month, if not once a week or bi-weekly, with your web manager, your whatever they want to be called. But this is the person that manages your website. So what we're looking for here is when you build it or you're looking to build one, of course I'm always going to say customized websites do so much better, but they do cost more. They're going to require probably a little more of your time. But if you have a really good website manager, then they will handle everything for you and tell you what they need from you in order to accomplish the goal with the website. So they kind of guide you through that. Now, if you decide to go with what I call a template website, this would be companies such as real estate websites, Real Geeks, iHouse, I know there's a lot of others, but I don't really deal with those kind of websites. I kind of help build them for certain clients, but I don't do that much anymore. But we offer is the customized websites. So if you're interested in having a WordPress customized site, we're happy to talk to you. But if you're working with somebody like iHouse, Real Geeks, somebody like that, they have people in-house that can help you with this. But these are the things that we're going to talk about that you do need. And what I want you to do is go look at your website now and see if you have these things. And if you do they need to be updated, refreshed, add some more to it, etc. Okay, so that's what we're going to talk about in today's blog, is how you can give your website a facelift, because when you do that, you not only attract an audience, but you also attract the search engines. And it really does matter. It matters that you are constantly doing something on your website so that the search engine spiders are crawling it and seeing what you're doing and giving you, good positive page ranking. So I know that it's very technical, but it works. And if you do it the right way, it'll bring you back, a huge ROI. So the other thing that we want to talk about is you don't want to appeal to a global audience. So some of the things that I want to try to point out here, and these are questions that come to me that I answer constantly. So when you are looking at your website does not need to attract a global audience. You're not attracting people from Europe or from the other side of the United States or from 2 states over. What you're focusing on is your audience in your local market. So if you say, and hypothetically, I'm going to say you live in Dallas, Texas, you need to focus on the markets you work in. So some of the markets in Dallas being the city, then some of the suburbs would be Plano, McKinney, Allen, Prosper, Melissa, Arlington, Rockwall, Rowlett, so you have a lot of cities that surround where an agent may work only in, let's say, McKinney and Allen. Even though if she drove 10 miles, she could be in Frisco. But she or he may decide, I don't want to do that. I want to stay in my little bubble and I want to promote my bubble. then that's the audience you need to go after. You need to talk about your local market. You need to talk about the community events that are going on. You need to have your searches set up so that when somebody comes to your website, they can create that unique search that's for them. You know, that means that you have to have a really good IDX system. An IDX system will be what talks to your MLS and what feeds from the MLS to your IDX program and then to your website. So when you are looking at any type of company to build you a website, you need to make sure that they can help you with the IDX. So the IDX that's on your website would be where you need to make sure that your IDX has permission from your MLS to feed what's in the MLS into your website, and making sure that you can define specific types of searches. So for example, if you live on a lake or you market into a lake, okay, you definitely want to be able to give them the search capabilities to look for lake property, okay, or the view of the lake. So there's a lot of things that you need to look at. So if you were to, live in the city where there's a lot of condos, townhomes, garden homes, of course, single family, but you're not really going to find a ranch in the city. Now you might find acreage, but you're not going to find a farm or a ranch. So you have to remember, the further out you go, so if you were looking in my area and you wanted more than 1 acre, then you need to have that search capability on your website so people can look for the right acreage. So they could look for 20 acres, 25 acres, 50 acres, 100, etc. So these are some of the things that you need to be aware of that your IDX should provide you with. So this is a conversation that you would have with if you have a customized website, it's a conversation that you probably have already had with your IDX, or she or he would have had a conversation with you on how to define those searches on your website. So that's one thing. Then the other thing that I want to go over is to make sure that your welcome page, this is your home page, is updated. It does not, if you are purchasing a template website, they're going to supply you with generic content. And that's fine. What you need to do is go in there and create and take that generic content and create customized content. And again, this is where your host will help you, or your website manager, or your virtual assistant. Somebody can help you with this. If you don't want to do it, then there are people out there that can help you with this. But it's really not that hard. So you need to make sure that your community, your market is mentioned on the home page 2 or 3 times. You need to make sure that it's mentioned throughout the website again. What I like to see is a welcome message that comes from your heart, and then what they can find on this website, what this website provides them, etc. And then maybe links to those pages. So if you say, we post our community events on our blog, then you want to have a link to the blog. So don't make them go look for it. You've got them for just a few seconds. You know how we are. Everybody's in the fast moment. They want to hurry up, get it done, and everything. So make it convenient for your audience to come to your website and find what they need by just a click of the button or a quick look, and they can find it. So look at your website as a visitor, as a buyer, and as a seller, and decide what do you need to put on your website that's going to attract them, but also keep them engaged on the website. That is huge. A lot of people that have websites pay good money, and their websites don't offer any more than every other agent out there. So I want you to look at your website and say, what can I do that's different, and what can I say that makes people feel welcomed into my website? So you kind of look at it that when somebody comes knocking at your door and you go to the door, how are you going to greet them? This is where I think that your website should be your home. This is your home to find your real estate needs, to accomplish your goals, and give them all the information that they actually need. And then they can decide, do I want to come in or not? So that home page is very important. The other thing that's very important is your about page. Your meet me page, whatever. It's your bio. It's you taking the time to tell your audience who you are as a person. Tell them how long you've been in the business, some of your accomplishments in the business, your designations, etc. And it doesn't hurt to have 2 or 3 testimonials on your about page as well. You can kind of scatter that out. So you could have a paragraph about who you are and a testimonial that kind of goes with that. Then you have another part of your bio that talks about maybe how long you've been in the business, your education, your designations, what do you specialize in or niche in, and then have another testimonial. So there's nothing wrong with that, and that really keeps an audience engaged. So that's something to think about when you're looking at your about page, and make sure you have a picture of yourself. If you're comfortable, put a picture of your family, your dog, your cat, your horses, whatever that is, because people want to get to know you as a person. And when they see what you're involved in and who your family is, and oh, she loves dogs, so you're going to attract people that have dogs. If you enjoy horses, you're going to attract people that also enjoy horses. So make sure you put pictures on there that you're comfortable with for the world to see, but also it gives them an idea of who you are. And I think that's huge, huge, huge. And if nothing else, you need to have a picture on there, as well as, and this just kind of popped in my head, but on every single page, you should have your contact information right there. They don't have to look for it. It should be right there. And your social media icons should be exactly where they need to go to look for them. So when you're looking at your website, you need to go, okay, well, where are they? Because I will go visit, when I have somebody that contacts me to work with me, the first thing I do is I will go to their website. If they don't have their website on their email signature, I'll do a Google. I'll go find them, and then I'll make notes about what I see immediately on their website. I can't find your social media. I can't find your email address. I can't even find your phone number. So these are the 3 things that should be on every page of your website, and it should be very noticeable, and it should always be in the footer of your website. Okay, so we covered that. And then you need to have action calls. So for your sellers, you should have some kind of an action, maybe a download, maybe something that can give them information immediately. And make sure that if it is a download, that it has your information on it, your picture, your logo, your contact information. Should have everything on there, and it should be branded, whether it's a questionnaire or an article or anything. So keep that in mind as well. And then let me back up on your IDX, because your IDX kind of is framed around your it's framed within your website. Your IDX should also have your information on everything, okay? And it's up to you to make sure you're in compliance. It should be the responsibility of your host or your manager to make sure that you're in, approval, that you don't want to get in trouble, violation. You don't want to be in violation. So make sure that once your website is finished, or if you haven't looked at it in a while, you need to go look at it and make sure that everything is supposed to be the way it's supposed to be. Because even me, who's been doing this for over 30 years, I build you a website. There may be things that I don't know that I have to be in compliance with your broker, with your franchise, with your local MLS, with your local board. And so these are some of the things that you should make sure that you are in compliance with. Okay. So, and then, if you have a blog, you need to have a blog schedule. So what that means is, are you going to blog weekly? Are you going to blog monthly? What is your schedule? And then you need to decide, what day do I blog? So if you blog every week, and the normal practice that I promote is you blog once a week on a real estate, whether it's a buyer, seller, relocation, new home, new buyer, etc. You have a lot of different ways you can talk about the real estate. It could talk about home improvements, etc. But then you should also have a community event, and that's coming up that weekend. And you need to spread them out and do that whole thing. I do have a blog on this. You can go down and try to find the blog. If you can't find it, send me an email and I will send you the link. But I have a whole thing on blogs, and I'm constantly talking about blogging. So the thing that because that's what drives your website, right? So when you have a blog, you're putting it out on social media. You are e-blasting out to your database. I have a new blog, go check it out. Here's the link, it's going to my website. So you're pulling traffic into your website by your blog. So what else do you need to have on there to keep them engaged? The longer you keep them engaged, the better chance that they're going to reach out to you. So just keep in mind to have a really good seller page that has a lot of information, maybe a couple of downloads that they can use. A buyer page needs to be very informative, maybe have some videos as well on the buyer and the seller page with you talking, just kind of like what I'm doing right now. I'm just talking to you. So make sure that you do something, to give them to download, and make sure it's branded, because once they download it and maybe they print it out, they may forget where I got it, but they're going to have your contact information on it. And of course your videos, videos are the biggest thing right now. So what you want to maybe do is get comfortable sitting in front of your iPhone and videotaping yourself, and then upload it or send the video to your host or your manager and have them upload it to your website. There's a whole lot of different options there as well. So these are the things that are going to keep people engaged. Of course, I'm going to say have a lot of video. If you do a blog, maybe you work with your blogger, and this is what we do, is we talk to our clients about what articles do you want to do a blog on it. If you want to blog about it, just do a minute, maybe a minute and a half, and just send it to me. We'll edit it. We'll put it with the blog, and then we'll promote it. We'll put it on Facebook, your LinkedIn, Instagram, whatever. Okay, so we talked about that, and then just, personal information, we talked about that. You also need to make sure that you are pulling up your website periodically to make sure that it looks good. And make sure there's no glitches or anything. It is your responsibility to tell your template host to, if you find a glitch somewhere. Your web manager, if you have a customized website, you're already getting that service. They're checking your website constantly. Drop my paper. So you want to make sure that, you're doing your due diligence on your own property. You own the website. It's your responsibility to make sure that everything is working, or work with your web manager on how to report that back to you on a monthly basis. And then, of course, when you have a new listing, your listings should be showing up. You should be enhancing those listings, making them stand out. You do a blog on them. You promote it on your social media. You send it out to your e-blast. You e-blast it out to your database. And, just really utilize all the tools that you have on your website. You're paying for it, so you should be drawing an audience in from it. If you're not drawing in leads from your website, then you need to look at why. And you need to have a conversation with your manager or your host as to why. Because there's things that a lot of people say today you don't need that you needed back in the day. And those things still are relevant. So make sure you're just having a good conversation. You don't have to know how to do everything, but you need to understand what's going on with your website. This is your calling card. This is your welcome. Welcome to my business. Welcome to my home type thing, right? Okay, and then I think the only other thing that I want to make sure that you are aware of is that you have a domain that is good. A lot of domains are taken now. You've got to be creative, but you can get creative. You might want to own 2 or 3. You might have a couple of domains that you point to certain pages on your website, and you can promote those domains and push people to maybe a seller page or a buyer page or a video page or your blog. So you can think about things like that to get really creative with your website, as well as with your blogging, your listings, your content, you know, and your IDX. So think about these things. So make a list, and if you'll see below, I have a download that will give you kind of a little checklist to go by when you're looking at your website or when you get ready to build a website. So hopefully this blog was helpful. I appreciate you joining me, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye.